Welcome back. This is still Morning Rave, and as always, we're super excited to be in your face this morning. It's our Wednesday special, the book review segment of the show. And today we have uh, the Doctor of Pain, or the Pain Doctor. Some of you at home might be wondering, what does that actually mean? Yes, for those of you that watch the channel on Friday night around 10 p.m., his face is pretty familiar. Yes, that's a very fine, hunky, soft-spoken. Is laughing right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us today's author, Tosin Imhogiemhe. Is actually talking about his book this morning, Treasure in Your Trash, a guide to making the most of life's mess. You'd agree with me that life sometimes can be a mess. This morning, I think he had a bit of it. He had to bring his book to bed. Good morning, Tosin.
Yeah,
Yeah, how are you this morning?
very well, very well.
Yeah,
It's my pride.
you had a bit of Lagos palaver this morning
Yeah,
before
well,
rushing on into the
yeah,
show.
we're used to it. It's inevitable if you're in
The
Lagos.
Danfo guys
Yeah.
scratching you. Hmm. Only those on the road can tell. But your book this morning that we're looking at, Treasure in Your Trash. I went through the book and I must say I picked quite a couple of things. The fact that number one, um, you don't give up on yourself. Number two, you shouldn't expect that it will be rosy.
It doesn't have to, you don't even, it shouldn't, it wouldn't.
Yes. And then number three, when it's not rosy, when it's not pure, how to survive.
Yeah.
Before we even start digging into the book chapter by chapter, what was going on through your mind and in your life at the time you chose to write this book?
Okay, so first things first, sometimes it takes being inside fire to know what it is like.
True.
Sometimes you need to experience circumstances to have first-hand, of course, experience. So at the time, I was going through what I call the fiery furnaces of this life. My first book was titled Pain is a Gift.
Mm-hmm.
However, although this is the first book that I wrote the manuscript and completed, by the time I completed that first and that got published. So I was looking back on my life and I told myself, everything you've gone through in life, you've grown through it. You've grown through what you've gone through. And there was a day I was just listening to, because during back then, what used to fortify me and develop my resilience and all that was the fact that I had this habit of always listening to audio tapes of prominent speakers, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Les Brown, and the likes. So there was this day I was listening to this voice note, and then I heard Bishop TDJ say, irrespective of what you've gone through in life, even including what you've done to yourself, because sometimes we live a self-destructive lifestyle, that there will always be treasure in your trash. And that phrase hit me. I just said, this thing, I'm going to write about it. So I initially wrote an article on it, but the quote, the phrase stuck with me. I'm someone who loves quotes a lot. And ever since then, I said I was going to expound it.
And which you did. I mean, it's a 3-chapter book for people that don't like to read much. It's not 16 chapters part. It's just 3. So it's a quickie for you that want to pick it. Part 1 talks about you are unconquerable, and then chapter 2 talks about the prisoners.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in the prisoners. Who are the prisoners?
Okay, so there's a quote by Franklin Roosevelt, one of America's past presidents, and it says, "Men are not prisoners of fate, but they're only prisoners of their own minds." Now, what he means is, the truth is, we are not prisoners of fate. When we go through certain circumstances, we begin to think we are doomed, life is over and all that. However, it's just your mind trying to overwhelm you, trying to subdue you, trying to control you. The greatest battle in life is the battle of the mind. Let me give a very good example. Let me delve into now the Bible and scriptures. Now, Elijah at the time had killed the prophet of Baal. He showed the extent of God's power. He even flaunted and boasted about it. He mocked them, brought down fire from heaven, and consumed, the entire place, atmosphere, and then the prophets of Baal were killed. Now, such a man with such a power that could, command fire from heaven. eventually he fled when Jezebel, the wife of King Ahab, was, trying to attack him. And she sent, there was a message that she was going to kill him. And this guy became scared. And then at some point, he was even telling God, God, please take my life. I'm scared. Now, a man who had that power to bring down fire from heaven, and because a mere human being threatened him, he was scared and he was thinking of committing suicide. What was playing out at the moment? His mind, despite his power, spiritual powers and all that, his mind was now, controlling, subduing him. So he was in prison at the moment. So what happened is when you're going through circumstances that in life, focus on your mind, control your mind. The saying by Deepak Chopra that amidst the chaos and uncertainties in life, keep stillness within you. If your mind can be still, then you have the power to move forward.
I mean, part 2 of the book really, really is deep. I mean, talks. The chapters include the broken, the failures, the unfortunate, the fortunate, the traumatized, and the self-destruct. There's something you talked about in the book. You talked a lot on suicide.
Yeah, of course. I often say this book is not just a book. It's
a guide.
It's a guide.
Yes.
It's an antidote for depression.
I want to dwell on suicide because we are beginning to see that being rampant now. What do you think is the reason for this? Nigerians used to be the happiest people in the world at some point.
Yeah.
But right now, that narrative is changing quickly. What do you think is responsible for this? And what is a way out for people that constantly find themselves in that gap?
Okay, so when it comes to suicide, why do people take suicide only to end their lives? They have, like I said earlier, the mind has overwhelmed them. And they just think that, oh, this thing I'm going through, it's overwhelmed me. I can't face it. I can't. And part of what this book also talks about is it tells you who you are. Because a lot of people do not know what they carry, what they are, fortified with. So when you are aware of who you are, the powers, you're more than just a physical being. Do you understand? When you're aware of who you are, for example, you have an immune system. And that thing is, you have a self-healing mechanism. When you get injured, for example, by nature, without medicine or anything, your wound heals itself. Your body heals itself. Your soul too heals itself. For example, you lose a loved one. You discover that you feel traumatized at the time, but in 2-3 weeks, 1 month, you feel better. What happened? It's not time that heals your wound. There's a power within you, an immune system that helps you, heal with time. So what happens is when people go through circumstances, they become overwhelmed. And they feel that I can't go through this. The mind now subdues them. And when it subdues them, they take to suicide.
So and the bottom line is people should work on their mind.
The mind. That's what
once
the
you're
battle is.
able to have the control of your mind,
yes,
you'll be able to surmount.
Let me give you a vivid example. If you're watching a movie, for example, a horror movie or any kind of movie, you believe it, even though it's a stage play. You get to some scenes where you become scared. And you become fearful, like, you get to that and irritate you. Now you know it's a stage play. Why is it affecting you? That's because your mind cannot differentiate between reality and fiction. So you need to learn how to control your mind, tame the mind and subdue it. And when you do, then you have the powers, you have what it takes, to overcome circumstances.
I want to give you a second to think of all of the chapters are your favorite, but I want you to pick your favorite paragraph. Just a favorite paragraph from the book.
Paragraph, not even chapter.
Not chapter to read. I would say that for viewers at home, once you get this book, the style of writing is really, really, will I use urban? He used some really youthful words that it's like a friend just still with you, right? And also he used a lot of scenarios, so storytelling and the likes. But have you been able to find a
it will be difficult, but let me just go through. I think chapter 1 is something that is an eye-opener.
I like chapter
1. And okay, let me talk about my experience. I run a prison ministry, and there was a time I was at Kirikiri prison. I titled that part, My Prison Experience. Now, during my first prison outreach at Kirikiri Female Prison in Lagos, it happened that as I rounded off my speech, because I go to these places to speak and revive their hopes of a brighter future, helping them sensitizing the inmates on the gift of pain. Now, as I round off my speech, I told the inmates I was going to come back and visit them at a later time to encourage them again. To this, they instantly revolted. No, we will meet outside and not inside the prison. The response came out of the blue that I almost lost my poise as I noticed most of them were frowning at my statements, which was thought to be pessimistic. Without hesitation, I had to make the best of the moment by asking teammates to applaud them for their positive affirmation. Otherwise, they would think I came to mock them. Luckily, my teammates went further to give them a standing ovation. The point is, reflecting afterwards, I felt like Jesus because I had never experienced a faith such as this. Despite their faith being defeated, these people had not been, their hopes were still alive. And simply put, when there's hope, there's life. People often say, when there's life, there's hope. But the truth is when there's hope, there's life. So the point is, if prisoners have not given up their hope of redemption, they've not, that's why some people being, sentenced to life imprisonment, some people not even knowing what they're there for and all that. Then who are you to give up your life? Who are you to give up on circumstances that you know, too well that you're definitely going to, overcome it?
At the end of the day, I mean, life at the end of the day is in phases. Thank you so much for, this beautiful piece of work, Tosin. Of course, the name of the book is still Treasure in Your Trash. For those of you that want a copy, you can reach out to Tosin on socials. That's at the Pain Doctor.
At T High Inspires, actually. There's more to me than just paying.
So you can reach out to him to ask him for